Vijayarata Kutumba Atmatatre Nrita Hoya Rasmini Tatstriyekshaniya. Bhagavati Ratir Astu Me Mumukshur Yam Iha Niriksha Hatagatasvarupam Vijayarata Kutumba Atmatatre Drita Hoya Rasmini Tatstriyekshaniye. Bhagavati Ratir Astu Me Mamursur Yam Eva Niriksha Hatagatasvarupam. Bhagavati Ratirastu Me Mamursur Yamiha Niriksha Hatagatasvarupam. Vijayarata Kutumba Atmatatre Dita Hoya Rasmina Tatstriyekshaniye. Bhagavati Ratirastu Me Mamursur Yamiha Niriksha Hatagatasvarupam. Vijayarata Kutumba Atmatatre Jita Hoya Rasmina Tatstriyekshaniye. Bhagavati Ratirastu Me Mamursur Yamiha Niriksha Hatagatasvarupam. Matajis. Vijayarata Kutumba Atmatatre Drita Hoya Rasmini Tatstriyekshaniye. Bhagavati Ratirastu Me Mamursur Yamiha Niriksha Hatagatasvarupam. Vijaya Arjuna Rata Chariot Kutumbe, the object of protection at all risk. Atatotre, with a whip in the right hand. Dritahoya, controlling the horses. Rasmini, ropes. Tatsriya, beautifully standing. Iksaniye, to look at. Bhagavati, unto the personality of Godhead. Rati Astu, let my attraction be. Mumursu, one who is about to die. Yam, upon whom. Iha, in this world. Niriksha, by looking. Hata, those who died. Gata, attained. Sarupam, original form. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada ki. At the moment of death, let my ultimate attraction be to Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead. I concentrate my mind upon the chariot driver of Arjuna, who stood with a whip in his right hand and a bridle rope in his left. He was very careful to give protection to Arjuna's chariot by all means. Those who saw him on the battlefield of Kurukshetra attained their original forms after death. Purport. A pure devotee of the Lord constantly sees the presence of the Lord within himself because of being transcendentally related by loving service. Such a pure devotee cannot forget the Lord for a moment. This is called trance. The mystic yogi tries to concentrate upon the Supersoul by controlling the senses from all other engagements, and thus he ultimately attains samadhi. A devotee more easily attains samadhi or trance by constantly remembering the Lord's personal feature along with His holy name, fame, pastimes, etc. Therefore, the concentration of the mystic yogi and that of the devotee are not on the same level. The concentration of the mystic is mechanical, whereas that of the pure devotee is natural and pure love and spontaneous affection. Bhishmadev was a pure devotee, and as a military marshal, he constantly remembered the battlefield feature of the Lord as Parthasarthi, the chariot driver of Arjuna. Therefore, the Lord's pastime as Parthasarthi is also eternal. The pastimes of the Lord, beginning from His birth at the prison house of Kamsa up to the Maushola Lila at the end, all move one after another in all the universes, just as the clock hand moves from one point to another. And in such pastimes, his associates, like the Pandavas and Bhishma, are constant eternal companions. So Bhishmadev never forgot the beautiful feature of the Lord as Parthasarthi, which even Arjuna could not see. Arjuna was behind the beautiful Parthasarthi, while Bhishmadev was just in front of the Lord. As far as the military feature of the Lord is concerned, Bhishmadev observed this with more relish than Arjuna. All the soldiers and persons on the battlefield of Kurukshetra attained their original spiritual form, like the Lord, after their death, because by the causeless mercy of the Lord, they were able to see Him face to face on that occasion. The conditioned souls rotating in the evolutionary cycle from the aquatics up to the form of Brahma are all in the form of Maya, or the form obtained by one's own actions and awarded by material nature. The material forms of the conditioned soul are all foreign dresses, and when the conditioned soul becomes liberated from the clutches of material energy, he attains his original form. Who knows what that's called? Siddha Swarup. Yeah. The impersonalists want to attain the impersonal Brahman effulgence of the Lord, but this is not at all congenial to the living sparks, parts and parcels of the Lord. Therefore, the impersonalists again fall down and get material forms, which are all false to the spirit soul. A spiritual form like the Lord's, either two-handed or four-handed, is attained by the devotees of the Lord either in the Vaikunthas or in Goloka planet, according to the original nature of the soul. This form, which is cent% spiritual, is the Svarup of the living being. And all the living beings who have participated on the battlefield of Kurukshetra on both sides attained their Svarup, as confirmed by Bhishma Dev. So Lord Sri Krishna was not merciful only to the Pandavas. He was also merciful to the other parties because all of them attained the same result. Bhishma Dev wanted the same facility also, and that was his prayer to the Lord, although his position as an associate of the Lord is assured in all circumstances. The conclusion is that whoever dies looking on the personality of Godhead within or without attains his Svarup, which is the highest perfection of life. Srila Prabhupada ki. Om Jnanatimandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshumalitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Bukram Kotavachalang Pangunung Haite Grim Yet Kripataram Vande Shigaram Dinataranam Vachikapatibhyascha Kripasindhyavacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare. In the Mahabharata, it's explained that after the war was over, Arjuna, he was going to get off the chariot. After Krishna. So Krishna said, no, you get off. You better get off first. And then Krishna got off. And as soon as Krishna got off the chariot just exploded like a huge explosion, because they were being bombarded by all these different weapons. But because Krishna was on the chariot, there was no effect. But as soon as Krishna got off the chariot, it was a huge explosion. So Arjuna thanked Krishna for that maneuver there. So this is very interesting here. Bhishma, he's wanting to be just attracted to Krishna at the end of this life. Then he knows, then I'll go back to Krishna. Therefore, Krishna, he says, Antakale chamameva smaran mutta kalevaram. Anyone who at the end of his life remembers me alone, at once attains my nature. Of this there is no doubt. So this is the goal, to think of Krishna at the end of this life. This is our final exam. We're preparing for that moment when we have to leave. When we inevitably have to leave this body, we're preparing for that moment. And I'll tell you, there's a nice verse in the Varaha Purana that says that, where Krishna, he says, even if my devotee forgets me, I'll remember him and bring him back home, back to God. So that's kind of reassuring. Now we just have to become devotees, right? That's harder. This is not easy, to be a devotee. And because a devotee means that his only interest is in serving Krishna. Now we're aspiring devotees. Well, I guess I should speak for myself, right? We're aspiring to be devotees. We're apprentices. Yeah. But if we continue this service, just like I was just reading, Prabhupada says in one purport that the Srimad Bhagavatam and the Bhagavad Gita are like boats that will help us cross over the ocean of material existence. Interesting, huh? That these transcendental literatures, they're like boats. They're like subtle boats that can carry us, the subtle soul, back to the spiritual world. So therefore these books are so important. And therefore Lord Chaitanya, he told the Kurma Brahmana, Yare dekatare kaha Krishna upadesh amara agyaya guru hanatare desh. That you instruct everyone of the teachings of Krishna as they are given in the Srimad Bhagavatam and the Bhagavad Gita. In this way you become a spiritual master and you liberate everyone in the land. So these are the two books that he said you should teach these things. And of course, Prabhupada, that was the first book that Prabhupada started translating, is Srimad Bhagavatam. The Bhagavad Purana, Amala Purana, the spotless Purana. And then, Bhagavad Gita. He didn't finish the Srimad Bhagavatam, but while he was doing that, then he translated the Bhagavad Gita. Actually, he had already done a Bhagavad Gita, but his wife sold what he had done, he did the whole Bhagavad Gita. And she sold it for tea biscuits. And then at that point he said, tea or me? Yeah. And she took the tea. So, yes, these literatures are completely transcendental literatures. And if we hear them regularly, then we get purified. I was also just reading recently that this hearing and this serving Krishna is the most congenial source of pleasure for the soul. The most pleasing feeling of the soul is to serve Krishna. Because it's natural, just like here in this world even, if there's some affection between a girl and a boy, then they want to serve each other. They want to do, is there anything I can do for you? They want to do something. He brings some flowers and she does, can I cook something for you? They want to do something because there's some affection, right? So this is this service is the most congenial form of attraction. We want to do something for that person who we have affection for. So the more we develop our affection for Krishna, the more we'll want to serve Krishna, and we'll want to do those services which are most pleasing to Krishna. And in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna, he mentions a service which is most pleasing to him. Yaidang paramanguyang mad bhakte sabadhashasi. Bhakti mai param kutra mami vaishya yasangsaya. Nacha tasma manoshesu kashya me prikritama. Krishna says that anybody who was explaining these teachings of Bhagavad Gita, who was distributing this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, this most confidential knowledge, is most dear to me. And there'll never be anyone more dear to me than that person. So Krishna has given us a hint here, a very clear hint. Do you really want to please me? Then give this knowledge out to others. Now it's interesting that in this verse, Krishna, he says, anyone who is explaining this most confidential knowledge of Bhagavad Gita to my devotees, he doesn't say non-devotees. And even a few verses before that, he says, this knowledge should not be given to those persons who are envious of me, who are not austere, who are not devoted to me and who are not engaged in devotional service. It should not be given to those persons. So one may say, well, wait a second. Where is it different in the Bhagavad Gita to people that have none of these qualities? In the 3rd chapter, verse 29, purport, Prabhupada says that, but Krishna, he says this, but the devotee, he knows the purpose of Krishna. So therefore, he goes out of his way to give this knowledge. And it's interesting that in that purport, Prabhupada says that Krishna's thinking he doesn't want his devotees to waste time on non-devotees who aren't interested. It's very interesting. See, this is and again, the kindness of Krishna. He doesn't want his devotees to waste time. So therefore he says, don't give it to the non-devotees, they're not interested. But Prabhupada, the pure devotee, says, but the pure devotee knows the purpose of Krishna. Therefore he even approaches people that are not interested. And he gives them this knowledge. Because the pure devotee knows that some people, although practically everybody is not interested, some people are going to be interested. And that's a fact. I travel a lot. I travel all over the world, and a common thing that I ask devotees, I ask them, how did you join? And it's amazing, maybe 60, 70% of the devotees join because of reading the Bhagavad Gita. So it's not an easy book to understand, and they're not devotees, they're not austere, they're not devoted to Krishna, but somehow, some people, some very fortunate souls, they read the Bhagavad Gita and they're impressed. And sometimes they even become devotees. So, Prabhupada says that devotee is even more kind than Krishna. So, we're very fortunate that we have this opportunity to engage in devotional service. And by this service, we'll get purified. And Krishna, after this verse, he goes on to say, Yang yam vapi smaram bhavam tajanti galevram tam evaiti konte sadatad bhava bhavita. That whatever state of being one remembers when he quits his body, that state he will attain without fail. So we're trying to mold our consciousness in such a way that we're able to think of Krishna. Prabhupada said this is the mental culture of Krishna consciousness in one purport. The mental culture of Krishna consciousness. We're trying to mold our consciousness in such a way that we'll always think of Krishna. That we'll always think of Krishna. This is the goal. And then this is later on in the same chapter, Attaining the Supreme, Krishna explains how we should think of Krishna. Kaving pranam anusasataram anor anayangsa anusmredya sarvasya dattaram achintya adityavarnam tamasa purashtat. So this is how we should think of Krishna. Are you ready? We should think of Krishna as he who knows everything. Kavim. Generally we know Kavi means poet. It's like Prabhupada's godbrothers used to call him Kavi, because he used to write these amazing, this amazing poetry. It was so nice that his spiritual master, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he told the editors of magazines and books, whatever he writes, print it. He was very fond of Prabhupada's writing. So he was known as Kavi, poet. But Kavi also means knower of everything. So Krishna is knower of everything. Vedaham samatityani vartamanani charjana Bhavishyami chabhutani mam tavena kashtana. He says, I know everything that's happened in the past. Everything that's going to happen in the future. And everything that's happening right now. That's a lot. That's a lot. He knows everything that's going to happen in the future. Everything that's happened in the past. And everything that's now happening everywhere. This is God. And sometimes people claim to be God. Yeah. I remember I was distributing books one time. Some of you might have heard this before, but it's a nice little thing. I was distributing books one time, and I asked this one guy, so what kind of work do you do? He said, well, I'm God. I said, whoa, that's a big position you got there. I said, well, you know, one of the characteristics of God is that He knows everything. Can you tell me what I'm thinking? He said, yes. You're thinking, I'm a rascal. I said, very good. You're right. But I was also thinking of a number. Can you tell me that? He said, no. So there's so much cheating, a lot of cheating going on. So this is the real God. Yeah. So many people claim to be God. It's like amazing. Isn't it common when we distribute books? Isn't it common? People think, well, aren't I God? So it's crazy. It's so common. Then I tell them, well, we have to understand what it is to be God. What does that mean to be God? He creates universes. When was the last time you created a universe? So people just don't know what it means to be God. He's the creator of everything. He's maintaining everything. All the nice things that we're getting, the vegetables, the fruits, the air, everything that we're getting is given to us by Krishna. So that's another part of this verse. He's maintaining. He's maintaining everyone, even the atheist. Even the atheist, he's maintaining. The Krishna is not partial. You know, he sees that everybody is his part and parcel. Some may be a little misled due to the material energy, but nonetheless, he's maintaining everyone. So Kaving Pranam, Pranam means that he's the oldest person. And one may ask, well, wait a second, but Balaram is Krishna's older brother, right? How is that? Well, then we have to go back to Ram Leela to understand that. When Lord Ram was vanquished to the forest, his dear brother Lakshman was very attached and he wanted to go with him. So Lord Ram also had some affection. All right, come. So they lived in the forest and he was so devoted to Lord Ram and Sita that he practically didn't sleep. He was on guard the whole time practically. Of course, he's also God. There's Chaturvyuha. He's also Vishnu Tattva. So he can go without sleeping. But it's described like that he was just constant guard of Lord Ram and Sita. So I'm going to fast forward Ram pastimes. They won the battle against Ravana. And then Ram wanted to test the chastity of Sita. So there was a fire. And he instructed or ordered Lakshman to put Sita in the fire to test her chastity. Now, his affection for Sita was practically on the level that he had of Ram. So it was so painful for him to do that he said to Ram, now you're my older brother, but in our next birth, I'm going to be the older brother, so I don't have to do things like this. Yeah. Because the younger brother always has to do, he's like the father. You know, the older brother, he's like the father. So the younger brother, he has to do whatever the older brother says. So our next life, I'm the older brother, you're the younger brother. He didn't like to do that. So he put the Sita in the fire, and of course she came out completely unharmed to show her chastity. But still, Lakshman didn't want to do that. Very painful. So although Krishna, he's the oldest, for this pastime, he became the younger brother of Balaram. He's very old. Actually, we're all very old. Sometimes you hear people say, I've heard I'm an old soul, or, yeah, you're an old soul, all right? We're all old souls. There's no young souls. We're all very old. But Krishna, in one sense, he's older because we've all come from Krishna. This is kind of inconceivable. Because we're all eternal. So Kaving Pranam Anusasataram. Anusasataram means that Krishna, he is the supreme controller. He controls everything. We are also controllers. Therefore Prabhupada said we are also God in one sense, because we're also controller. But we're God with a small g, very small. And Krishna, he is God with a big G, very big G. Because he's Paramishram, he's the supreme controller. We're very limited. How much can we control? Very little. Very little can we control. Kaving pranam anusasatam anor aniyangsan anusmaretya. That he's smaller than the smallest. He's so small, we can't imagine. Krishna can take a long walk in the atom. Very small. And he's big. He's also bigger than the biggest. Universes, this universe here is just a small universe compared to other universes. But all the universes are coming from the pores of Mahavishnu. You can imagine how big Mahavishnu is. Universes, big universes, are coming from the form of Mahavishnu. And this Mahavishnu is just an expansion of Krishna. So Krishna's big, very, very big, powerful. Adityavarnam, Sarvasiddhataram Achintya. His form is inconceivable. And he has unlimited forms. It's inconceivable how many forms Krishna has. But his form itself is inconceivable. As we sing every morning, that each one of his senses perform the functions of all the other senses. You know. He hears with his eyes. Yeah. He tastes with his eyes. Yeah. Every sense performs the functions of the other senses. It's inconceivable. The atheists, when they see that we're offering food to God, they can't understand that God is eating, that he eats with his eyes. Yeah. You've authored this, but it's still there. How did he eat? Rascal atheists, right? They can't understand that if a devotee offers something to Krishna with devotion, then he accepts. There's an amazing pastime of one devotee who, a very wonderful devotee, wonderful family, his wife and his child also, all great devotees. So he would regularly have his wife cook for the deities, and he would do the offering, but he had to go somewhere. So he asked his son to make the offering to the deities. So he went on the altar and he placed the bhoga on the table, and he invited Krishna to come down and honor the food that had been cooked for him. So he was fervently praying to the Lord to accept this offering. But he was asking him to come down off the altar and eat. And Krishna wasn't coming down. And he was in anxiety, actually. My father is instructing me to come and offer this to you. Please, my Lord, please come, accept this offering. And he was praying with such sincerity, it was practically tears coming. My Lord, please accept this offering. Please come down, eat, honor this wonderful food that's been prepared for you. Please come. He wouldn't come down, and he's just like, he's becoming more and more sincere and begging, my Lord, please come down. So Krishna came down from the altar, and he honored the food that had been offered to him. So then the father came back and where's the Maha? Maha? Pita, Mata must have really cooked some nice food, because he finished. There's no Maha. He ate it all. What do you mean he ate it all? Yeah, he ate it all. He came down, he ate everything. You saw him? Yeah, I kept on praying. He wouldn't come down. I had to really pray. He came down. So the father was like, wow, okay. Just like Krishna, I told yesterday the story, he can talk, right? He can walk, he can eat. Not only with his eyes, but he can come down. If he devotee is ready, he can come down and eat. So he came down and ate. So this is Krishna. Yeah. But therefore that's stated, Patram pusam phulam toyam yome bhaktya prayas tadaham bhakti prayastam asnami prayatatmana. That if one offers to me with love and devotion a leaf, a flower, fruit, or water, I'll accept it. Twice. Love and devotion. This word bhakta is there twice. So this is what Krishna is most attracted to. The bhakti. The bhakti. So this is what we're praying for. And as we're hearing here in the purport, Prabhupada said that if one engages in sincere devotional service to Krishna, we can go back home. We can go back to the spiritual world and attain our Siddha Swarup, our original form in the spiritual world. It's possible. Yeah, it's very possible. We just have to take this very seriously. Prabhupada said that we have to utilize every moment. And in the Bhagavatam it's stated that one moment not utilized in thinking of Krishna and serving Krishna, this is the greatest loss. This is the greatest loss. There's 86,400 seconds in a day. So we have to utilize them very carefully. Of course, we have to take rest, but sometimes even when you're sleeping, you're thinking of Krishna. Like yesterday I was giving that class. I was giving a class and I was trying to remember that verse about how Lord Chaitanya, he says, my only salary is devotion for you. Last night in the dream, I remembered the verse. But then after I woke up, I forgot it again. I was like, wow, that's cool. Thinking of a verse of Chaitanya Charitamrita while you're dreaming. So, if we're thinking of Krishna, then when we're sleeping also, we can think of Krishna. I'm sure you've all had dreams of Krishna in some way, Prabhupada. How many of you had dreams of Krishna and Prabhupada, or any of them? Prabhupada, any? Dream of Prabhupada? Krishna? There's one. Yeah, okay. So the more we're thinking of Krishna, the more we're able to also think of Krishna, even when we're sleeping. So I was curious. So I calculated how many seconds there are in 10 years. You want to know? In 10 years, there's 315,360,000 seconds in 10 years. So we got to utilize all these seconds properly. Yeah. And then when that second comes, that we leave this body, we'll be ready. Because all those seconds, those previous seconds, we're thinking of Krishna, we're serving Krishna. So Krishna appreciates that. Yeah. Krishna's grateful. Just like this here, this is Sydney. This is like, of all these cities in Australia, this is probably the most sinful. So much sinful activity going on here. So there's so much we could be doing in Sydney. But if we're engaged in devotional service, yeah, Krishna appreciates that. So many things we could be doing in this sinful city. But if we're engaged in devotional service, Krishna appreciates. So any questions or comments? Yes, Prabhu. Oh, interesting. So in a purport, it said that he comes out, this universe come out like a banyan seed, then the universes expand. Interesting. So it may not be so big that huge universes are actually coming as big universes out of the pores. Okay. That's interesting. Okay. But yeah, he's big, though. He's big. I forgot the rest of the verse. The rest of that verse is, he's smaller than the smaller, bigger than the biggest. He's maintaining everyone. His form is inconceivable. And his form is brilliant. Adityavarnam tamasa parasa is brilliant like the sun. The sun is so brilliant, we can't look at it. If you look at the sun, your eyes burn. So Krishna's form is also very effulgent, and therefore some devotees, they pray, please remove this effulgence so I can see your beautiful form. It's so effulgent, you can't see Krishna. So devotees pray, please remove this. It's in the Ishopanishad, right? I think also a devotee prays like that. Please remove this effulgence, so I could see your beautiful form. And then the last part of this is tamasi, adityavarna tamasa parastat, that Krishna, he is never overcome by ignorance or passion or material goodness. He's never overcome by the modes of material nature. He controls the modes of nature. This is Krishna. So this is how to think of Krishna, this verse. Yes? Well, the question is that one may be a devotee and then have some difficulty and fall down, which happens a lot. Prabhupada said 90% of his disciples, they'll leave. So many left, even when Prabhupada was here. So what happens at the time of death? Well, Krishna says, Neha Bikramanasosti Pratyavaya Nividite. In this endeavor, there's no loss or diminution. And a little advancement on this path will protect them from the most dangerous type of fear. So whatever advancement one has achieved in this lifetime, one will start off in the next life from that point. Krishna, he takes note of the service that we've done in this lifetime. In next lifetime we begin again. Some of us here may have been devotees in our last life, and now we're picking it up again. Yeah. So whatever service we do is recognized by Krishna and never forgotten. Well, still, even then. Yeah. Krishna sees what we've done, what service we've done in this lifetime. He sees the good. He tries to oversee the negative, and he tries to see the good. And whatever good service was there. Actually, there was one discussion. About this, part of the Bhagavad Gita is about this, that Arjuna asked Krishna that what is the position of someone who falls down from his position. He's like a riven cloud. He's not in spiritual life. He's not. So Krishna said, one who does good, my friend, is never overcome by evil. Powerful. That's Krishna speaking. That's like a powerful statement there. Of course, there was some evil there. He fell down. There were some sinful activities, but never completely overcome by evil. So there's some devotional activity there. So Krishna sees that, and in our next life, we pick up from there. Okay. Yeah. 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 Whatever we've done in this lifetime, it carries on. From that point, we carry on in our next life. Yeah. Yeah. And Krishna says, even as if even not looking, he comes in contact. He's not even searching, but he comes in contact with devotees. And that happens a lot. Yeah. But devotees that have come, they weren't even looking, but somehow they came in contact with devotees or the book or something due to past life, and then they pick it up. Yeah. Okay, thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.